Welcome to another edition of Insight. Today we continue on a line that we've been doing, talking to authors, talking to people who have decided, well, let me not just think it, let me write it down and share it. And we have in studio with us today none other than NICOLA McFADDEN. She's an author, but she tells me that she is a transformational person. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
What exactly is a transformational leader? What's that? I want to get that out of the way right away.
Okay, a transformational leader is one who helps to move you from your current state to envision future state.
Okay. And that is to suppose that you're not liking your current state.
You're always wanting to grow, wanting to evolve, wanting to develop your life. So no matter where you're at, there's always an aspired future state, a dream, a goal, a desire that you'd like to have. And how do you get there? And not just for individuals, but also for organizations. There's always a vision in mind that you're thriving to.
What if it's an individual who has done it, retired, and just enjoying his flowers and his bees and his grandchildren, and he doesn't want to be transformed, does he?
Oh yes, you're always, as long as you're living, there is the desire of becoming.
Yeah, getting more flowers and getting
no, but also if you have gone through life and you're now achieved it, there's something to give back. There's something to contribute to your future generation. There's a legacy that you have to leave. So as a legend who has gone through and now planting your flowers, how do you contribute back to society? How do you leave that legacy? And how do you continue to develop those who are coming behind you? Send the elevator down and open the door behind you.
Send the elevator down and open the door behind you.
Yes.
What have you done? You have gone ahead and written books.
Okay.
Introduce me to the books. What are they about? And you can call the name of the book for me, because it sounded very patois at one time. And, what's the book about?
Okay, so the book Reborn Fates, Kaya. And Kaya is
Kaya mattress.
No, no, not Kaya mattress. It's an Hebrew word, means to live.
Hebrew word.
Hebrew word means to live, to be revived, to be quickened to life, to be restored, to be nurtured from death or even from sickness or depression or devastation. It's about revival, restoration, redemption. So it's a rich word that means to live. So
you're saying that anybody now who's feeling down and out, anybody who believes that God has given up on them or they have given up on God, this is the program too.
Right. The book describes the techniques, the strategies, the prayers that will move people from various setbacks in life to recover that which they have lost. It gives them hope. It gives them the ability to think positive, no transformation without a renewed mind. It helps them to have the hope and the happiness that they're not at the end of the world. So it provides the process for transformation, because change is a process. There might be a violation that happens, an event, but the actual change itself is a transformation. So it provides the techniques and the process to walk you through a transformation. It provides the strategy as to how to pray yourself through that situation. There's actually a prophetic way to pray to unlock the prayers to be answered.
Okay.
Right.
Let me see if I get it right.
Yes.
Break it down.
Of course.
You're saying in my medicine chest,
yes,
I have name brands for headaches, stomach aches, foot backache,
Yeah.
And you're saying that I should put Kaya in my mental medicine chest, that when I'm going through some serious times, I grab for it, reach for it, because it will give me that spiritual upliftment. If you may. It will guide me and point to me, remind me that this pain will one day be over and I will be better for it.
Exactly. That the pain you're feeling is only temporary. That there's a glory awaiting you. That no matter what happens to you, not your affliction is not necessarily a liability, but it can be turned around to an asset.
Okay. What if it's a terminal illness?
Even within a terminal illness, what happens is that a lot of time, even people who go to the doctor and get a doctor's report, the fact that they believe what the doctor has said instead of believing what God has spoken over their lives, they actually become more sick. So if they say that I understand the report that you've given me, but I'm going to affirm the report of what God has given me, his truth, that I will not die but live to declare the glory of the Lord, that by his stripes I'm healed, it actually gives you a positive approach or an attitude to the situation. And even during that devastating period, the moments that's left, you're not necessarily, you could become even empowering people while you're sick. If you ever visit some people and they're able to speak life over you, even though you went to see them in the hospital, it's giving you that empowerment, that positivity, that new attitude.
It's not preventing you from dying, because everybody would live forever.
God will decide if it's your time. Only God has the last say of your life, not the doctor.
You know, you're messing up with the template of my program.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a good way. It's a good way.
Okay.
Because only God will. How do you know the will of God?
Okay, you have to affirm what God's word says, believe that what God's word says, and leave the outcome and the timing to God, who is all powerful and all knowing.
So why bother to pray?
You pray because the prayer is not for God, the prayer is for you. That during the time, because you don't know if he's going to take you out or not, your belief is that he's going to heal you. And you should always believe that he's going to heal you. And there are many testimonies where he has healed people. And there are many testimonies where he says, it's time to come home. But even time to come home doesn't mean that you're not healed. It means that you have had the ultimate gift of healing. So even during that time, you're not fearful because you're saying that I know where I'm at spiritually. And I know that even if he doesn't heal me, I know what my eternal life is.
So why don't we all end our prayers by saying, if it is thy will, that thy will be done?
Well, that's what Our Father says, right?
But that's just our Father. But everybody prays everything and pray for sister this, so get up off of her cancerous bed. Pray for brother this to deal with his pancreatic thing. And as if to say, they know God's will.
What they're exercising,
some people touch you and say, you will be healed.
Because what they're exercising is faith. The belief that if we affirm what God says about you and affirm his word over you, God will respond to his word. He's not a man that he would lie. He's able to heal you. But at the end of the day, it all falls back in his divine plan and his overall plan for your life. So your responsibility is to stand on his word. His responsibility is to carry out his divine plan.
So if you pray or not, his divine plan will still be in place.
His divine plan, there are times when he has responded in favor to you because you have prayed. There are situations
if you didn't pray, you would not have.
I'm not the mind of God.
Okay.
All I can say is what I have seen happen. Because what I'm saying is that if you respond in faith, if you respond in hope, you're actually thinking positive of the outcome of your situation. You're not going through your depression. You're not adding additional illness to the situation that you're going through. Because if you just take your disease and you're like, oh, I'm just going to die, you might end your life a lot sooner. But if you take your disease and says, I know who is able to heal me, and I know that he has already healed me. And even if the healing looks different than what I'm hoping for, I am still trusting in him to do his perfect will.
And that's the power of prayer.
That's the power of prayer.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Your mind is geared towards the positive outcome.
Exactly.
And then you attain that.
Exactly.
That to me is God.
Exactly. And that's to me is faith.
Without playing with God's will.
Without playing with God's will.
Because he knows his will.
He knows his will.
And it will be,
and it will be done.
Will be done.
It will be
all
done.
Right.
Awesome. So we got that out of the way.
Yeah, so we got that out of the way. Because prayer is very powerful.
Prayer is very powerful.
From a management point of view, and yes, we're all managers.
Right.
It puts your goals and ambitions in place. And
It does.
Focus on it.
Exactly.
And the doctors will tell you there are two types of patients. Those who make it through the same operation and those who don't make it. The one that makes it is the one who has the will.
The strong will. I agree perfectly.
And then that's the difference.
Well said. Perfect.
Enough of that. You're back to your book.
Awesome.
Back to your book.
Okay.
So you went through your transformational thing and you decided to write a book. What was it like to write a book? Are you self-publishing? How did you go about writing a book from your idea to the product? Give me the process. Right?
Okay, sure. So my book actually evolved during my own transformation. So my book is a reflection of my story, my personal transformation story, which I had hashtag Reborn Faith while I was going through the situation. While I was in the cocooning stage, I was actually writing that story, not as a book, but as blogs, as prayers, as declaration. And I actually formed a community out of it. So in posting these daily blogs, I was empowering myself and empowering people.
What's a blog?
So a blog is what we used to call journal. There was a time when you wanted no one to read your journal. And then now with social media, you're now actually journaling online through a blog. So different
And
people.
you have a community.
You have a community of like-minded people who are actually participating or been benefiting from that through education or engagement or.
Okay, just want to be sure that those
Right.
who are on,
Yeah, I understand.
we don't
Right.
presume
They
that
know what a blog
they know
is.
what a
Right.
blog is.
Right.
So you, in other words, you had stuff out there that was
Right.
coming out of you via online?
Via online. So I have a Facebook community, Nikki Mac, which is the name of my company, which was not initially intended to be a spiritual empowerment and life transformation.
Okay. But don't
So,
get into that.
I won't get into that yet. So what happened is that on Nikki Mac, I started blogging spiritual empowerment while I was growing through my own circumstances. So I had years of blogs going on because my transformation was about 5 years. My series of In the Valley was about 5 years. Wasn't short. So I had 5 years of blogging and a community being developed. So once I wrote the book not from a position of pain, but I wrote the book from a position of freedom when I had
You reflected on the pain.
reflected on the pain.
Yes. To literature.
Yes, and therefore the book is not a chronicle of it has a story, and wrapped around it is my story, but wrapped in it is how to. How did I do it?
Publish?
How
did you get to
right.
archive?
So once I had the blog, I realized now that I would like to publish a book, and I'd like to challenge myself in doing the book as a self-published book. So my team is global. So I went out, I made this goal that I'm going to publish a book, and I set a date that I will publish it on my birthday. So that was last year. So
I'm going to ask you to hold on because we haven't found out when your birthday is yet.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to take a break on Insight, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Insight. Our guest, NICOLA McFADDEN. She's an author, a series of books, if you may. And we want to know what it is like to get into the process of writing a book. She blogged, material was out there, and then she was now challenged herself to put it in book form. What was it like? What did it take? What was the process?
Okay.
What did you do first?
Okay, first thing you have to do is set the goal.
Set the goal.
Set the goal as to when is it you want to write a book? What is the book about? Who's your target audience? What is it you're trying to tell your audience in? And what's the pain that your audience is experiencing that your book is trying to be the solution for?
Okay.
Right? So once you have defined that, it basically outlined the purpose of which you're writing the book.
Okay.
So I did that.
What category would this book come under?
This book would come under self-help.
Self-help.
Right.
Oh, okay. I know there are a lot of categories out
there.
Yeah,
it's actually has been awarded in multiple categories under Amazon.
Okay.
Self-help, healing of inner child, spiritual transformation, personal transformation, mental healing, and all of that. So there are a lot of categories, but it would fall more generally under self-help.
All right. Help me with the, okay, you've
So you've
done all
now-
of that.
Yes, you know, set the goal. Once you've set the goal, I'm a project manager by profession, so I lay out all the different steps that I have to do. The book cover that has to be designed, all the graphic work that has to be done, the content that you're going to put in it, hiring your team, your support team, your editors, your proofreaders, your internal design, your external design people, and I had that globally.
So did you go publishing out there, or did you self-publish?
So first I did my research. I did my research both to publish with a traditional publisher or to publish self-publish. And my final decision was that I'll publish through my company, which is NICOLA Solution Inc., and I would do self-publishing. And I did that through Amazon.
Okay.
And they
So
have
they
a
put
publishing
up,
period.
use the software online and Word and...
No. So you write the script or you write the manuscript, send it to your editor to be edited and proofread. And I had that's the biggest part of the book for self-help book, because a lot of self-help book get released and it's not properly edited or, or copy edited and formatted and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had an internal designer, that interior designer that designed the layout of the book, the interior of the book. And my external, which is my cover designer, was actually a Jamaican guy, Corey Barnes, who did the external.
What's his name?
Corey Barnes.
Corey Barnes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so he did the external cover of the book, and once the content was done, my internal interior designer did the interior of the book. I have both a Kindle version, which is your e-reader or your ebook, as well as your printed version. Right. So you gotta have to get it done in Kindle and then get the paperback designed.
Is it much different, because we're talking technology here, to get the paperback and the Kindle version? Is there a lot of difference in the reformatting of the book?
There is.
What is the significant difference?
There's a significant, so the person I sent it to is actually an expert in that area. And the Kindle version has to be formatted without page number, because you're reading it on a mobile. So you're not like so it's position number.
It doesn't tell you page 1 or
No. It would tell you the position you are in the entire book, because it's Whereas the paperback has to be numbered, and so there's a big difference there. The format of it is different in terms of the file type. So that gets in the technology piece of it. So
that's transformation.
That's transformation. But he's an expert, so I selected the best of the best
So what you
on
did
my team.
As a manager, you outsourced.
I outsourced all the areas that I was not an expert in, and I managed it to the quality of expectations I want. Corey can attest to that, because it was painful for both of us until I finally got it. Finally got the version that this resonates with you. Right. Yeah. So you go through that, and you'll know when you're finally in the mark in terms of the cover. What I'm looking for, what the story.
How do you know?
Because the artist thinks of so many things when he's designing your book cover, and he tells you the story that he thinks the book cover is saying. So my story was about reborn faith, and here it acts as if I'm emerging from the clouds. I'm coming out, right? So of darkness, right? Into the light, right? So those are some of the things that he puts in behind, and not all the time I can see what he sees, because he's creative. So there's a lot of just managing the process until you finally hit the mark, which was good. It was a good process. It has to be structurally managed. So a lot of people who have been trying to self-publish don't realize that the marketing and the sales is actually even harder than bringing the book to commercialization. So there's the whole marketing, the website, the personal branding of it, opportunities to share your story, like what's happening now. All of that becomes part of your overall project management, and not just bringing the book on the shelf.
What I'm trying to do here is to see others out there, if they have an idea, that somehow they'll be inspired, and they'll understand that we need more books written, especially in Jamaica. We don't do a lot of writing. And so we're happy to see people of Jamaican vintage writing and putting down their stuff, and whatever category it comes under, because alas, it's way beyond you.
Right.
When you've gone, you've left a legacy.
Exactly.
If you may.
Exactly.
That it is.
Yeah,
All right.
and I do help a lot of people write their stories, because one part of the whole transformation process is sharing your story for empowerment.
Yes.
So a part of the book talks about living zealously and living zealously.
Oh, zealously. Okay, all right. So you got a Z as a
zealously, yeah, living zealously, and really leaving your story as a legacy. And how do you go about doing that? So that's also a part of the transformation, where actually sharing your story becomes therapeutic and also become transformational for others. So that's
right.
also another piece.
How did you go about setting up the book? Because we have this fatter one, and we have 3 slimmer ones.
Right.
But you're telling me this includes all that 3.
Right.
So you went about a series.
Right.
What's the series, and what are the different series? What is it that you took on to give us? How did you partition it, decide on, come with the volume 1, volume 2, volume 3? Those were decisions you had to make.
Right. The first thing is that books, people are so bombarded with so much content these days that they get a lot of time intimidated by bigger books. And I had a lot of content. So in order for me to not shortfall the entire effect of what is it I was trying to do, it was best that I divide the book into series. And they're not necessarily chronicles or a sequence. You could pick it up any place,
any one of them,
anyone,
2
and read.
before
Right,
3
right,
and 1
right.
before 3
Exactly.
before 1. Okay.
Right. So in writing the book, because I was now reflecting on what happened, because I was no longer going through the situation, I was reflecting on how did I really survive and how did I really thrive.
So we're going to find out
To
the
write
situation.
all of that, right?
Don't
Yeah, so the first book is written in the third person. It's me taking a look at my overall life situation and says, how did you get to where you are right now? So it's written in the third person. It's me, NICOLA, looking at NICOLA and saying, this is the story. And that one is entitled One Legend's Venture to Legacy. So that's book 1.
One legend venture
To legacy. Exactly. So One Legend's Venture to Legacy. And it really talks about your story. And this is part of what I talk about living zealously, is where you would write your own story once you've gone through the entire
It's almost
strategy.
an autobiography, but it's written in the third person.
It's written in the third person.
Yes, no eyes in there.
No, not in the first section, because it's almost like I'm doing a life map of my entire situation.
Okay.
And I'm saying, what are some of the major things I have accomplished and what are some of the major things that I have overcome?
Okay.
And then how did that get me to where I'm at?
Okay.
So basically that's what it is.
Assuming that you're satisfied with where you're at.
It's 2 things, is that one is that you never should be satisfied with where you're at. You should always trying to be thriving to the next level, because you should always knowing that as long as you're here, there's more in you. There's still purpose in you to give.
Yes.
So it's really looking at where you're at.
Doesn't mean that you're ungrateful, though.
No, you're not.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
It talks a lot about
nuance there.
No, it talks a lot about gratitude, and it talks a lot about the fact that if you have overcome all of that, and if you've achieved all of that, despite everything you've gone through, there's still more in you to give.
Okay.
And as your first story was, what if I'm already arrived? There's still more in you to give, because you can give back.
Okay, quickly take me through the sequence of the book.
Right. So we talk about Volume 1, which is One Legend's Venture to Legacy. Volume 2 talks about, looks at the definition of kaya. And it talks a lot about live victoriously and righteously. And living victoriously, as I said, kaya means to live, to really live. And a couple of the meaning, one is live victoriously. Living victoriously is that you're actually thriving to the next level. You're evolving at all times.
Okay.
So you're always trying to thrive to the next level.
And the third one?
The third one is live prosperously and zealously. And that one is talking about the fact that mental wellness is actually your new wealth.
There you go. We're going to take a break.
Yeah.
And she has alluded to a lot of this living with this thing and living with it. We're going to find out exactly what is it that caused, what she has been transformed from. Can't wait to get my teeth in this part. So stay with us on Insight. NICOLA McFADDEN decided to write a book, a series of books to talk about her transformation, using her story, but reflecting on it in a position of freedom to look back at it and to say, come, this is what I went through, you can do the same. And at this time, it's time to introduce us to the challenges that you face, the hardships you face, the pain that you got that would shoot you to the mountaintop. What was it that little Nikki went through? You did say that we call you Nikki. Right?
Yeah. Okay, so I had a series of setback. Which lasted about 5 years. It started with my marriage started failing, then the death of my dad, then it went into me wanting a divorce, a 4 years family court battle for custody.
This is Jamaica? Or?
No, in Canada.
In Canada.
In Canada, yeah. So I was born in Jamaica,
yes.
and I migrated to Canada in 2000.
Okay.
And in around 2011 to 2015 is when I went through my seasons of setback.
Yes. Building blocks.
My building blocks. My seasons of being pregnant with my purpose.
Pregnant with your
purpose, yes.
But you did become pregnant, didn't you, at some stage?
I have 2 sons.
Okay, it would mean pregnancy. Yes.
I have 2 sons, but the pregnant with your purpose is identifying your very reason of being.
But at that stage, though,
right?
you wouldn't have seen these as building blocks.
No,
you
going through it.
This, oh my God, why have thou abandoned me? You could understand those prayers in the Bible.
Yes. And
why have you forsaken me?
Exactly. And that is what the book talks a lot about. It talks about the transformation change process that we go through. So a violation happens. What I just described earlier was many violations that happens to me during that time. You know, they were just one after the other.
You felt like the victim.
You felt like the victim. So for someone, it could be whatever is your violation. Someone, for me, it was a divorce. I went into depression. I was a senior director in a global corporation. It injured my corporate job. I lost my home because of the divorce. I went into significant debt because of the long court battle. I had 4 lawyers, huge credit card debt, just trying to fight. Fighting for my children, fighting for my mental health. And of course, with any divorce, fighting for finances and all of that. So it was a brutal battle that lasted about 4 to 5 years. And basically what happened is that's how I would say is my violation. That's what happened. My venting is what caused the fight, because you always wanting to win, or you're negative about it. You're resisting the change. You're not seeing it at that time as building blocks, as you put it out. You're not seeing it that you're growing to another level. You're seeing it that you have been victimized, you're hurting, you know, all of that. So you go through negative, you go through the venting, which I'm describing for you, the transformation process that's in the book. It's called 5 V's, right? And then what happened is that if you start venting and you start fighting and resisting the change, you're going to go into the valley of depression, which is what happened, of depression.
Okay, the valley of death.
The valley of depression, the mirror pit. You're going to go into depression, which is what happens. But you don't have to dwell there. And that's the change now, that you need a renewed mindset. That even though you have gone through some level of violation, or you have gone through a transformation or a transition, and you're now in the valley of depression, you don't have to stay there.
How do you get out?
how do you get out is a good reason. The next thing is that you think, and this is what we talk about in a transformation, is that when you ask, what is a transformation consultant? A transformation consultant is saying that this is where you're at in your current state. You're in the valley of depression for whatever reason.
You do an audit.
Yes,
These are the reasons
you do a current state assessment.
Yes.
And this is why you look at your story in the third person. You're saying, okay, what brought me here, and what are some of the major achievements that I have, and what are some of the major obstacles I've overcome since then, and here I am today. So I'm looking back at it in an analytical version in the third person, as if someone else is looking on my life. Then you define a vision as to what is it you want to go.
Yeah, help me. You have a situation where you could spiral out of, because a marriage is not forever, so you could come out of that through a divorce. A divorce is not even forever, because you move on. What if you're born with a congenital heart disease? Don't you visit that valley of depression very often? Are you not likely to? How do you stay out?
So the reason is that you will always visit the valley of depression. But with a renewed mind, your attitude to that violation or that affliction, you look at it differently. Because you can look at your affliction as a liability, or you can look at your affliction as an asset. However you look at your affliction, that's what comes back to your faith and your prayers, is that however you looked at your affliction, is that you're standing firmly for what God says about your affliction. So you've got that level of perfection that you're looking towards God and His Word and His healing, but you've got a tolerance that His perfect will be done. So when you look at it in that situation, you can actually become a source of empowerment, even though you've got an affliction, right?
I like that.
Right.
In other words,
a source of empowerment.
This is my condition.
Right.
I don't have to stay.
I don't have to stay there in the valley. Right.
I can use my own story to get others.
To get other people. Right. Exactly. So that's what happened. So I was in the valley of depression, and I was still fighting a terrible battle. And there comes a point in time. So there's going to become just like a ball. That's why it's called rebound faith. Yes. The ball goes down, it hit the bottom, and then it goes back up. Yes. There comes a point in time when the pain of where you are is greater than the pain of moving forward. You know you're ready.
Oh, come again. The pain of where you are
is greater than the pain of moving forward. So you're hurting so much in this valley that you're now saying, no matter what happens, moving forward is going to hurt, but it can't hurt any more than I'm already hurting.
Okay.
All right? Got it, right? And you need an anchor that is stronger than the pain you're feeling to pull you out of the valley. Mm-hmm. My anchor was God, and what His Word says about my situation and who I was.
And do forgive me, if I'm global, I would say whoever you perceive your God to be.
Whoever you perceive your God to be. Some people said it's the universe. Other people said, for my personal story, it was God.
Yes.
Other people, you gotta find, as in Jesus Christ.
God is God.
Yes, right. Yeah, as in Jesus Christ. But you gotta find an anchor that is stronger than where you're at, and the pain you're facing.
Anchor must hold.
Yes, it must hold, and you have to introduce your pain to that power. So whoever you're holding as God in that place needs to be more powerful than the pain you're feeling, because you're now introducing that pain to the power.
But what if it's a situation where it's about, God, you have forsaken me. How can I put my anchor on you?
Because you're now venting. Because remember, everybody does that, and you will actually go back through the process. So if you look at the V, going down, the ball is bouncing down. Yes. The violation happened.
Venting too.
Yeah, so it's 5 V's. The violation happened.
Yes.
Venting happens. You're negative. You're uttering all the negative things about what is happening, which is what pushes you into.
Curse God too.
Yes, you're not happy with God. And David did that. Yes, you're not happy with God. You're not happy about the situation. All these people have said this. This is how you feel. I'm a failure. I'm hopeless. You go straight into the valley of depression. When you're in the valley of depression and you realize that the pain in the valley is you're going to hurt if you come up or if you stay. The only place you can look is up. So you have a choice that you have to make. And that's where your paradigm shift becomes. You're now going to tell yourself that I'm not going to stay here, that I'm not a prisoner of my past or what happened to me. I'm going to go higher. I'm going to rebound. I'm going to kaya. I'm going to revive. I'm going to really live. I'm going to survive, and I'm going to thrive.
Yes.
So in my situation, you have to find something that you're anchoring that future state to. Mine was rebound fate. I'm going to rebound.
Personal question. Do you, at any time through the V's, forgive?
Oh, yes. Often you have to.
Important.
Very, very important.
You went through a lot with your husband, your
right.
ex-husband.
Yeah.
Where are you with that?
Oh, you have to forgive. And that is why the book is written from a position of not pain, but a position of victory. The book is written...
Not a V.
Yeah, which is live victoriously.
Yes.
So the book is not written that I am venting negativity over him. I had to find a place, because when you're looking up, you stop venting, you start prophesying. Because when you start prophesying over your situation, even though you're in the valley, you're prophesying the outcome of your situation. You're prophesying your vision, which is the next V. And in order to get to your vision, you have to make sure that you take all the things off that's weighing you down. One is that unforgiveness is what traps you in the valley. Unforgiveness and the bitterness is what trap you. It therefore means that you're not ready to move forward and to be enlightened.
And you call Mr. Chambers down and say
right
hi?
now, yeah? Of course.
Say hi, how you
yeah,
doing?
yeah.
And he's good with that?
Very good. Even though when I was venting, I was angry and I was bitter, which is natural for someone going through divorce. Once I started deciding what my new vision is, that I couldn't do it myself. So in the book talks about how to forgive, how to really tell God that I can't do this on my own and I need you to help me. And that's the first time I've ever experienced forgiveness in its truest form, because everything just wiped clean. I can call Mr. Chambers, stand up in the bank because we have shared accounts for children education, and do a transaction. And when I was coming to Jamaica as a single mom, I called Mr. Chambers and I asked him to take care of the boys because they will be without care.
I'm going to take a break, and I would imagine she would say, if he could see me now. We'll be right back on Insight. There's a reason why we call it Insight. Quite an insightful day with all these V's around, going on victories, the vision, and now the vow.
The vow. So
what is this vow, Miss McFADDEN?
Okay, the vow is a vow you make to yourself and a vow you make with
This is the prophetic
God.
part.
It's the part that tells you that you're going to live that life for which you were created for. And you're not going, no matter what happens, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to have different failures, different setbacks, but you're not going to allow yourself to dwell there. So you've made this commitment. A vow is a commitment. It's a burning desire that you can achieve that vision. And it's that persistence
you
in
have
doing
something
there.
in the book about the vow. Insert your name.
Yes.
You have that nearby. You can find that quick.
Quick.
You might think I got a chance to read the book. No, I didn't, because I just never did.
Okay.
But I recall scanning through it, and you say, put your name in there and read the vow.
Okay, all right. Lord, my vision is rebound fate. I believe that everything I'm going through is what I've created and prepared for. I'm ready and I'm able. I'm determined to not only establish and achieve my vision, but I'm making a vow to live out my core values and to let my heart reflect you. I vow to kaya from whatever circumstances and live victoriously, righteously, prosperously, and zealously. I pledge to come alive, to survive, to revive, and thrive. I vow to achieve my goals that reflect the aspiration that I've described for my life and to provide the guide to accomplish my objectives in midterm or long term. I'm bound to follow through with my current and future actions to affect the required changes in my life and to be a source of help and support and to empower others. I decree and I declare that I have all the strength in me and I can do all things through Christ who empowers me. I'm ready for anything and equal to anything through him who infused me with inner strength. I'm self-sufficient in Christ's sufficiencies. Lord, I make this commitment to you and to me. Signed, NICOLA McFADDEN.
There you go. That's the
go.
vow.
That's the vow.
How often should you go back to that? I forced you into it this morning to revow your vow.
You should, it will become a part of you. So when I remember what I'm writing here is not when I was writing the book.
Yes.
What I'm writing here was when I was in the valley.
Ah.
Do you understand?
You were in the
I was in the
valley of
I was
pain,
in the
of
valley
darkness.
of pain and the valley of darkness. I was at rock bottom.
Okay.
And I was stating what my vision is. My vision is to write a bestseller book. I didn't write it yet.
Yes,
My vision is to be able to help people who have gone through life transitions. My vision is to rebound and really live. So I'm making these visions to empower myself out of rock bottom, to empower myself out of the valley. And I'm now making a vow that I'm going to be steadfast and sure, and I'm going to be persistent, and this is a burning desire, and I'm going to achieve it. So that was happening while I was in the valley.
Tell me, is your husband better for this? Ex-husband?
Better?
Better for all of this, who you have become?
That's a question that you would have to ask him. But I think he's proud of who I've become because I will always be the mother of his child.
His child, okay.
Yeah.
And help me.
Yeah.
What prepared you for this? Where were you born?
I was born in Jamaica.
Where?
I was born in Kingston, Jubilee Hospital.
Okay, yeah.
Right, and I went to St. Jago High School.
Okay, sorry, Monk Street.
Yeah, on Monk Street.
Posh.
Yeah.
That's how we are.
Proud school. Proud of being a past student of St. Jago High School. I went to University of the West Indies.
Oh, yeah.
I graduated with a first class honors in
you
computer studies.
Yes. In what kind of-
Computer studies, so
Computer.
a double major in computer science and management studies.
Okay.
Right.
Very well.
Yeah.
You went to, you grew up with whom?
I grew up with my mom. I was born the second child of a teenage mom. So she was a
Okay.
teenager and she already had one, and then I was second.
Okay.
So I grew up in poverty.
Yes, yes.
I was, however, very smart in school, even though a lot of times I wasn't able to go to school all the time because I lacked basic needs of going to school. In the book, I shared a few of my challenges even growing up as a
mom
child.
alive?
My mom is alive. She's with me in Canada.
There
Yeah,
you
so
go.
yeah, part of the story is also powerful as to when I went through my depression, she actually came to Canada to take care of me, but she herself got sick. And now she's in Canada and I'm now caring for her, so I'm her caregiver.
Okay, and she's still sick?
She is healing.
She's healing.
Let's say that.
Challenged by her sickness, but healing.
Yeah,
All
she
right.
is healing. So we'll say that what we have been grateful for is the ability for her to still be with us because she's gone through 2 strokes, a mild heart attack. She gone through a major surgery and removed a part of her colon, and she's still with us.
Okay.
Still Kaya.
Grandma.
Yeah, and she had an opportunity to see my transformation and to even be at the presentation and the launching of my book, which I am extremely grateful for. So
great
she's here
moment,
with me.
great family moment.
Right. So that's how I was born here. I migrated to Canada with my first son, Nicholas, who was 8 months old, to a new country.
Yes.
And so I'm wanting to just have a fresh start.
Yes, yes.
And I've been in Canada. I got married and I had Matthew, which is my
Yes.
second son. And then I was married for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And then my life happened.
Then life happened.
Life
and then
happened.
here you are.
And here
on
I am.
JNN Insight, right?
Yes,
That's
right.
how you've made it to the top.
That's
girl.
how it is.
The church you went to,
Okay, so
because you speak of your Christianity, it's your value, it's your rock, it's your. When did you become imbued by that?
Okay, so I got baptized when I went to Canada. My husband and I got baptized the same day. But I think I had a personal encounter with God when I was going through my situation.
Which denomination are you?
I am non-denominational. I worship.
So you use the word affirm, so I expect you to tell on.
Yeah. No. I'm non-denomination. I have a very deep relationship with Jesus Christ. I pray a lot, and I speak prophetically a lot, and I support other people who need
When you speak prophetically, what is that?
So that's another part of my book that talks about live righteously. And there is a way that you pray prophetically, and there's 5 R's. Yes. So basically you take your requests, which is the first R, to God. What's your desire? For me, it was to get out of my current situation, my depression and all of that, and to achieve something in life, because I'd already was a senior leader. I just had a setback that allowed me to be in the valley. The next one is really, what does God's word says about it? So say you're sick, and you've received this doctor report from the doctor, and he says you have cancer. What does God's word says about your sickness? So search in the Bible about revelation of the truth of what God's word says about your sickness. By your stripes you're healed, I'll heal from every wounds and diseases. And you start believing what God's word says above what your eyes see, even though you're not yet healed, as opposed to going into the venting. Right. So the next R is that once God has revealed in his word is how you respond to it, which is coming to your mindset and your attitude. So I've revealed that God says by your stripes I'm healed. I know he is able to heal me. How do I respond to that revelation that has been revealed to me? I receive it and I believe. So that's faith. Knowing fully well that he has the final say and in his timing. Right? Right. So the next one is that once you have, so that's your response, which is the next R, is once you've received it, so you've responded knowing fully well what he has said, so you believe in faith, is you receive, is that you start visualizing that which you've asked for. So faith is that what you've asked for, you expect it to receive. So you start visualizing that which you're asked for, which is why I was able to write the vision and the vow, because I'm visualizing that, a lot of people do it through vision board. So you start speaking that which you're asking for. You start prophetically speaking because it has not yet happened. Right? So you start speaking, I am healed, I am well. So you start affirming, and a lot of secular is talking about affirmation. And so you start in the positivity. You start speaking the positivity, but you're speaking God's word. Self-fulfilling prophecy, but you're speaking God's words. Because he will perform his word. He's actively watching over his word, ready to perform it. And if you believe that, and you're speaking his word over you, not only are you feeling empowered, is that you are now believing that he will manifest his word. All right, so that's the third order response. The next one is rejoice. The ability to rejoice and give him thanks even before he has answered. And to rejoice when he has answered. And to rejoice even if he has not answered. So really, that's the third R. And that's how I pray.
Okay,
right?
Very well. That sounds like 5. The issue now of mental wellness.
Mental wellness.
What is that? And how does this shape a form of your transformation?
Okay, so if you look at what's happening in society right now, depression is one of the leading causes of disabilities. Even organizations are suffering with it. If you look at even in our teenagers, you look at the rate of suicide, and even studies show that men are actually greater in terms of what they're going through in depression and suicide. So it's an epidemic that's been rampant now, but it's, however, very stigmatized. It's stigmatized in the church, it's stigmatized in the community, and it's definitely stigmatized in corporate, which is where I was. So the ability for me to get the courage and the confidence to talk about my story and to come out to say, yes, I've been through a situation that caused me depression, is that was for me to empower others that they too will become naked and they too will not suffer in silence but seek the help that they need in order to survive. So I call it mental wellness. The reason is because it gives a positive look at it as opposed to mental illness or as opposed to mental health. Because everyone, no matter where you are, should always be thriving for mental wellness. And in that case, you're not necessarily bound to the stigma that's associated with the mental disorder because you're all thriving for mental wellness. And mental wellness is that peace, that inner peace, that completeness, that you're able to fulfill that which you're created for. You're able to accomplish that vision. You're able to overcome the setbacks because you've got that grit, that inner strength that is empowering you to do that. And so that's what we focus on. There's another Hebrew word for it. That's called shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Shalom, kings and queens.
Yes.
The need to seek external assistance when it comes to mental illness, that's also stigmatized.
Yes, yes. And that is why people...
How should people address that?
Yeah, that's why people suffer in silence with mental illness or mental disorders. Because they don't see it as a traditional disease or a traditional sickness. So if I said I have cancer, I get priors and I go to the doctor and it's okay. But a lot of times I said I'm depressed, it's as if you're weak and you're not strong enough and you can get over that, and no one understands how you feel. So a lot of times people suffer in silence, not seeking adequate mental health care. Everyone who faces violation, it doesn't matter. Different people respond to different violation different ways. So what might be major to me might be minor to you. So people should seek professional help for their mental disorder or their mental illness without the fear of being stigmatized. There are a lot of, it could be also a chemical imbalance that's causing that, which would mean that you need prescription drugs. But it also could mean that it's a situational depression like my situation, which though I was on prescription drug because of the severity of mine, you might need other techniques that can help you to empower you, which are some of the techniques that we talk about here. The priors, developing a vision, having the vow, looking at that. You're not alone in your situation and you will always bounce back sometimes, but how do you don't have to dwell there, and how do you rebound? So those are some of the things. And one of the main things that I've been saying is that mental wellness is actually your new wealth.
And on that note, I want to thank you for enriching me.
Okay.
And let us know this is not bad to go seek help.
Right. No, it's not.
Yeah. Certainly, you can get some help from your book.
Yes, you
Reborn
can.
Faith.
Yes, you can.
Kaya, NICOLA, McFADDEN, and where do I find this book?
So the book is available on Amazon. While I'm here visiting, I was a keynote speaker for a Mother of the Year event on Saturday. I'm going to, and there was lots of interest in the book. I'm going to try and get the book into some local bookshops here in Jamaica. The book is available on Reborn, www.rebornfaith.com. You can purchase the book online. It's also available on Amazon. It's also available. So there are many things that have come out of the book. So my vision for Nikki Mac Solution Inc., which is my consulting company, have been expanded to not just transforming business, but transforming leaders and transforming life.
So those are some of the horizon?
Yes, there are lots of books on the horizon. There's a lot of book in me. I'm currently, this month is Mental Awareness Month, and we're currently going through a 21-day challenge, I Choose Joy. And out of that has been a manifestation of a book.
And joy cometh in the morning.
Exactly.
And for those of you who are sick, not so well, infirmed, whatever your situation is, the valley of darkness is not a place for you. You can rebound.
You can rebound and really live.
And really live.
And really live.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, for being a
Thanks
part
for
of your
having me.
lectures.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So until next week, Michael Sharp saying pleasant viewing from inside.